Hi, I'm Genesis Macias, and my Chapter 9 presentation will be on canine units. And I decided to do canine units because canines have always interested me, and I really like dogs, and I thought this would just be a good idea to do my presentation on it. Okay, so what are canines? Canines are dogs that are specifically raised and trained to aid in the police force and in different types of law enforcement. Like here in the pictures that I have right here, you'll see them in different settings. You'll see them running over obstacles. You'll see them standing guard with their handlers, sniffing luggage, and then the police dog by itself with its vest. So what do canines do? Canines, they serve a lot of different purposes. They serve and protect just like regular police officers do. They protect us, they protect their handlers, and they also aid in finding contraband, and contraband meaning drugs, guns, explosives, anything that's not legal. And they also aid in searches, like they track it, like if someone is missing, they'll aid in trying to find them, or like in a burglary, they'll aid in tracking down the perpetrator, because they have really good sense of smell. Since they are dogs, they can smell what we can't, so that's why they're very helpful in law enforcement. And also, I remember in the chapter I talked about being used as a kind of as a form of intimidation, in a sense. Like how would you say it? Like if the police officer is handling a perp and the perp is getting out of control or is just not cooperating, they'll send in the canine to make sure the canine protects its handler, and also because the perp will probably maybe be scared of the canine attacking them, or basically they'll just get the situation under control because they can't reason with the dog, and they know they can't. So canines in law enforcement. Canines are used in the police force, but they're also used in different types of law enforcement. They're used for military, customs, corrections, airports, the boat stations. They're used in a lot of different types. Well, I mean, like airports isn't law enforcement, but it's a different type of service. But like in airports or for the boats, they'll smell luggage to make sure nothing is being passed that's not supposed to be passed. And same goes for customs. Like if you're crossing the border here in San Luis, you'll see the canines going around the car to make sure no contraband is being passed, to make sure everything is good. And also in corrections, like for the jails, my brother, he's a CO, and I asked him what they use the canines for, and they use the canines for a lot of different things. They use them for cell searches to make sure the inmate isn't hiding anything they're not supposed to have. Like my brother, he told me one time about a canine that found like a bunch of drugs in this inmate's cell. He like hid it behind a brick or something. Not a brick, but he hid it behind some place where they couldn't find it, and the canine found it without a problem because that's what its job is. And they also use it to smell visitors to make sure they're not passing anything they're not supposed to be passing. They also use the canines for protections and like riots or things like that, to intimidate the inmates, to get things under control. They use the canines for a lot of different types of things. Okay, so the canines have different types of purposes. There's single purpose and there's dual purpose. And the single purpose has the one sole purpose, and that purpose can be backup, personal protection, or tracking. While dual purpose, they do the same thing single purpose dogs do, but they also have different types. They also have the extra purpose, which can be searching for contraband, whether it be explosives or narcotics, and it can be either or. They cannot be trained to do both. If a canine is being trained to search for contraband, it will be for one sole purpose, because I always wondered why, and it's because dogs can't communicate with their handlers. So like if you have a canine that can find both explosive and narcotics, and it signals to you that it found something, you're not going to know what it found. So if you have a explosives canine or a narcotics canine, like a narcotics canine, if it smells a car and it signals to you, it alerts you that it found something, you will know what it found because that is its sole purpose. Which I thought was pretty interesting, because I had always wondered why they couldn't just, why they had like different dogs for different categories, and that's why, because they can't communicate. So breeds of canines, a lot of different dogs can be used for canines, like Labradors, Rottweilers, basically any type of athletic dog. But these two right here, they're the most common in the US. This one right here is the German Shepherd, and this one over here is a Belgian Malinois, and they're very similar. The only difference really is that the German Shepherd has more hair than the Belgian Malinois, but they both do great jobs. They're both used a lot because they are easily accessible. So they're very easy to get a hold of, very easy to train as well. And they also look pretty, I don't know, I never knew the Belgian Malinois. I always thought a Belgian Malinois was a German Shepherd. Like I didn't know it was a separate type of dog. Like when I would see canines, I always thought they were just German Shepherds, but there's actually Belgian Malinois. And also for canines, a fun fact, well, I don't know if it's really fun, but a fact about canines is if you injure a canine or if you kill a canine, so you can actually be charged with a felony. You can be charged with murder because it is, a canine is a police officer. So I didn't know that until recently, that you can be charged with a felony for killing a police dog. And I think, I don't know, I honestly think it's pretty cool because they're treated like actual police officers, like they have badges and everything, and I think that's pretty cool. And also, if a canine is killed in the line of duty, they are given the same honors as a regular officer, which I think is really neat. I think it's nice to treat them as like, real officers, because they do a lot for the police force and they do a lot for all different types of law enforcement. And I think it's important to show that, they're important. And I really like that. I gotta stop this.